here at the start of the Pacific Crest Trail. This is the trailhead at Hart's Pass, 31 miles up to the Canadian border and back. It's an overcast day, a little bit cool out, but should make for some nice hiking weather to put back some real mileage today. It's hard to believe that in just a few minutes it's just going to be me all by myself out here in the wilderness for the next 4 to 5 months and finding my way. That is both scary and calming at the same time. I think I'm going to find some real peace in this place. I appreciate you guys following my journey, and I look forward to having wonderful documentation along the way. I hope to be checking in with you soon.
Good luck, Mike. See you soon.
So here I am, maybe a mile or so in, and the trail's turned into kind of a mix of this snowy slush, followed by a little bit of trail in between, and it's just patchy snow and slush. Feet are getting a little bit wet. Gonna be glad I brought extra socks. It's pretty cool out here. As you can see, the sky's really overcast, but these mountains in the backdrop, the rugged northern Cascades, all snow covered and just beautiful. Hopefully this stuff burns off a little later today or tomorrow, and I'll capture some really good footage and video from up here. Anyways, I'll check back in with you guys in a little bit. Dorothy, we're not in Kansas anymore. In this first couple of miles here, you know, I think I came to a realization that I haven't really put words to until now. The things that intimidate and scare me about this are not what you would expect. It's not, I'm not worried about being able to complete this. I'm not worried about the physical effort required. I'm not in the shape for it right now, but I know if I grind away day after day and keep putting in the effort, the endurance will come. Day one went pretty rough. I was walking along the snow, and I post-holed, which is where your leg just digs right into the ground, into the snow that's melting and getting hollow down below. So I post-holed all the way down to about my upper thigh, and my leg down below fell into a creek bed and got caught in a rock, which twisted it and basically threw my whole body on the ground. And when my body was falling down, my other leg naturally kind of lifts up to kind of brace my body, and my knee smashed right into a rock that was hidden under the snow. And then my phone went flying out of my pack, and I spent almost 2 hours looking for my phone, trying to figure out where it was, and set up camp then, only 5 miles in, after wasting all that time and getting banged up. But it's a new day. I actually got a good night's sleep last night, and I'm ready to tackle day 2. It's day 2, and I'm feeling a lot better now. Day 1 was just rough. I don't know, something about the dark skies, and then it started to rain for a while, and I got into my zone and my happy spot and was going along, and then I had the incident where I thought I almost even ended my trip when I banged my knee into that rock after post-holing. I thought maybe I'd broke something, but thankfully I didn't, and I'm still out here. And I just, after I lost my phone and spent a few hours looking for it, I just set up camp after only 5 miles in, and it was a little bit of a disappointment for day 1, but got a good night's sleep. I didn't sleep well on the way out here, and I feel really good today. You know, it's another overcast day. You can see the clouds and everything. I'm like in a foggy mist right now, and I'm just happy to be out here. Met some wonderful hikers last night. Some people helped me out, and wonderful community of folks out here. Just feel great about being alive today. Here I am on day 2. I've been hiking about, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours, about 8 miles in. So I already did more than my less than productive day 1. It's beautiful out here. I climbed down under the clouds, as you can see, for a while. I just came from back this way and now gradually heading up this hill ever so slightly to the top of Woody Pass, and then there's one other pass. I think those are the last 2 high points I go up to before I reach Canada. I'm about 12 miles away from Canada at this point. Oh, so just walking along here up at this pass. There's this real hog on the trail. It's just like this wall of ice that thinks it owns the place. It's really like, and I got a cliff over there. Don't push me off the trail, okay? Come on, guy. You can share. There's enough room for 2 of us. So I just came through Woody Pass back there. I was confused about the pass I went through before. That one was rocky. So I got about 10 more miles to go, and somewhere up there is Canada. I think this was my last mountain pass, so should be all downhill from here. Day 3. It's a little after 5 in the morning now, and yesterday was a great day. I knocked out 20 miles. I felt good. I got to camp. I made some bone broth and some electrolyte drink, and then I went to lay down, and I woke up and was sick to my stomach and lost it all. So that was a real bummer, but I feel good today. So hopefully things don't repeat themselves. I was just putting on my socks and my gaiters and realizing how much I hate wet socks. I really wish I didn't have to wear wet socks. I have 1 pair of dry socks, but I can't put them on and hike in them because then I will have no pairs of dry socks. There is no sun, there's no warmth, nothing is drying out, and I'm not going to sacrifice my dry socks just to have dry socks for a few minutes. The struggle is real. Well, I made it up to the Canadian border. I only got 2,651 miles to go in the other direction. Everything at least is southbound from here. No more heading north so I can go south, which is really nice. And made it to this monument. It's been a rough 3 days to get here. Should have only taken 2. But it's gonna get easier from here. And the sun is actually out for the first time in 3 days. And I'm gonna try and get in another 20 miles today, or at least 15. But I made it from one end. Now I just gotta get to the other. So you're just walking up this trail here, up this hill, and out of nowhere, boom, that view, that's spectacular.
So I just wanted to record a little bit as I was walking along the trail here. Had some interesting thoughts, feelings, and reflections here on day 4. So I guess first up is, I feel like before coming out here, I had a lot of like built up anger, frustration, just negativity brewing inside of me. And I still have some of that, but I feel like I'm noticing more of it and getting rid of more of it. Oh, it's like little pellets of hail coming down right now. That's about par for the course out here these last few days. Well, anyways, yeah, I found myself, especially in the first couple of days, something went wrong, or as I was just reflecting on life and going back on like decisions I've made, I'd see like sometimes I would just curse out loud, like just from all that built up negativity. It's like I had Tourette's or something. Thankfully no one was around to see me in my crazy moments, but yeah, I was really weird. I haven't done that much in the last couple of days, but I do still notice that I get frustrated real easily. Like, if a tent zipper gets caught and doesn't want to zip up all the way, I might get frustrated with it or mad instead of like calmly just fixing it and getting it done more efficiently. Like, I don't know why I have that anger and frustration in me, but I want to work on that. The other thing I noticed was last night we had I camped at a site with other people for the first time, and there were about 6 other tents, and it was cold. We all knew it was going to get down to the mid-30s last night, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to start a fire, because I'm like a bit of an extrovert myself. Southbound doesn't really seem like the approach many extroverts are going to take. They're more likely to go north with the herd and have more of a crowd to talk to and hang out with. But nevertheless, I wanted a more peaceful, more solitude type of journey, and chose to do the southbound approach. But anyways, so I went to start a fire, and it's basically been raining for the better part of the last 3 days. So that wasn't easy, but I got a fire going. And I was thinking, all right, we're gonna get this community together and have some people to talk to. It's gonna be a good time. Nope, no one was coming out of their tents. Everybody was just boiling some water and trying to rest. I imagine it's because we're on day 3 or 4, some of them on day 2, depending on which direction they were headed. And I think everyone's exhausted at this point and worn down by the elements. So you have to have a lot of spunk to want to socialize after a 15 to 20 mile day in freezing cold, rain, snow, hail, whatever this mountain's gonna throw at us. Anyways, those are just the few little tidbits I wanted to throw out. Check back in a few hours. Super stoked. Only got maybe 12 miles to go, and then there's what they call trail magic, where someone sets up and helps out hikers. And this trail magic involves hot tea and scrambled eggs, which right now sounds like some sort of 5-course dinner at a fancy restaurant. This right here is my nemesis. This is where I was at on day 1 when I took a big fall. And I was walking along here, and more of this snow bridge was still coming across right here. And my foot fell down, and I think it fell between those 2 rocks right there, which caused it to twist a little bit. And then I came down with my right knee right onto that rock right there. And I thought I broke my knee for sure. And then my phone was buried somewhere in the snow down here that doesn't even exist anymore. I probably helped it melt faster because I spent 2 hours digging in it to dig it out. And way down there, right below the snowfield, that's where I ended up camping on night 1, just because I was so frustrated and needed to cool down. Yeah.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. You imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. Imagine no possessions. Wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you join us, and the world will live as one.
So I'm back at it again. This is day 5 on the trail, day 6 overall. Yesterday I took a 0 day, which is where you basically spend a day healing up, relaxing. My feet had been soaking wet for about 4 days, and I had these weird blister type things, like bloody blisters that were forming, and I wanted to get those cleaned up and wrap them up real good. So I wrapped them in Leuco tape last night after getting them cleaned up throughout the day yesterday, and now back out on the trail. Next stop is Stehekin, which is about 50 miles away from here. I feel really good today. As you can see probably in the background, it's actually sunny today, and I have my solar panel out trying to get some use out of that and see how good of a job it does charging. But the interesting thing about today was, I've been camped out with the same people for about like a week, or not a week, the last day. But like we all kind of knew each other because we'd been passing each other as we were kind of like suffering through that first 64-mile stretch where it was raining and snowing and sleeting and everything. And it was almost sad, like leaving camp this morning. One of the guys, Spooner, that I got to know is really great. He was playing his ukulele and had to stop and take some footage of it before I left camp because it was just such a beautiful, fitting song. The trail angel doing trail magic out there, Broken Toe, that guy is absolutely world-class, amazing human. He would give you the shirt off his back if it would help you out. He really just wants so much to help other people out that he really does go the extra mile to help us. So, Broken Toe, you're an amazing human. Thank you so much for improving my experience. I learned something really interesting about myself, and it seems so basic that, like, you know, you probably have heard people say you need to learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable, but it's hard to put real meaning to that until you experience it. And that's, I feel like, what I went through the last few days. I think I have some improvement to make on that, because the last few days it's been cold, raining, snowing, just in general tough conditions. But I just kept moving on, and I kept doing what I could to make myself comfortable. And I was talking to some guys about that at camp, and one of them mentioned something that now is really kind of showing its meaning. He said, when you're uncomfortable, you can either just sit there and deal with it, you can do something about it, or you can choose to go on with life like that's the way you want to be. And I think that's some good wisdom. I feel like it's something I want to remember and reflect on more, because I don't feel like I took full advantage and participation in the experience when I was comfortable. When I was uncomfortable. And I definitely think that applies to regular life as well. So, yeah, maybe you guys also have some ideas on how to, prop yourself up and cope better when you feel uncomfortable, how to make the uncomfortable feel comfortable. So day 6 of walking, I made it another 21 miles yesterday, but yesterday was just brutal. So many steep uphill climbs. Kicked everybody's butt, I think, that I've talked to. So learned some interesting things yesterday, though. It was left camp yesterday, and it was where the trail angel was at the trailhead, and kind of almost to develop this sense of family there with some of the other people on the trail. After spending a little more than a day with them, and all of us having gone through those previous 4 really hard days with the snow and rain. And it was really, really sad leaving. But ran into a few of those folks down the road at that same 21-mile stop when I made it to camp last night, but pretty much didn't see anyone for the 12-ish hours it took me to get there. So felt very alone again. It's interesting. This section of trail where you've already done the out and back to Canada, you don't really expect to see people like you do in that other spot. And even there it was kind of rare, but out here it's even more rare because your nearest town is 20 plus miles away. You're less apt to see day hikers out in this region, and it's just very surreal that you're really just this alone with nature. But the sun is coming out today. It's supposed to be in the mid 70s, and the terrain sounds like it's going to be pretty decent, so I'm considering trying to go for a 30-mile day today before I take a few days rest. Anyways, I will check back in later. I'm about 95 miles in, and the scenery has changed quite dramatically. I have ended up in a parking lot. Apparently I have to cross this highway up here, and the trail continues. Another 20-ish miles until I get to a town, or 20 miles until I get to a road that's 10 miles from town. At least it's beautiful. So, I'm running up on about 120 miles. The end of, I think it's my first full week out here. I'm 2 miles from Stehekin, Washington, where I'm gonna spend the next couple of days recovering. I've got tape all over my feet. My left ankle is broken down to the point where it feels wobbly when I walk, and it's clear my body needs a little bit of time to rest. So I'll take a couple of days off there, recover, eat some decent food, and then the next stretch is about another 104 or 5 miles with 29,000 vertical gain. So it's going to be probably the toughest stretch on the PCT that I run into, and I want to make sure my body's fully healed and recovered for it. But I wanted to reflect on something. I had mentioned something earlier in another video about being comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I think that's really the lesson that this hike is trying to teach me. I see so many examples of it out here where I rush through stuff, I don't take my time, or I don't really absorb everything I should be absorbing because something has me uncomfortable, and I get into this rush or this singular mindset of getting the task at hand complete. I need to slow down and take my time and enjoy it a little more, instead of grinding away at all these big mile days like I have been. I put up anywhere from 20 to 24 miles a day most days, and it's exhausting, and it's wearing down my body quicker than it should be, and it's kind of taken away from some of the adventure, I think. So the goal for next week, especially with as hard as it is to cut that down to 12 to 15 mile days and really try to take it in.